Black Alpha Network. Power to the people.
B1, go ahead and speak.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight? I'm just sitting back listening, and I like the topic about immigration. And I know everybody was saying, call ICE, call ICE. Well, this is what I think here. Instead of punishing the people that come over here, if you make it difficult for them to find work, that'll kind of alleviate them coming over here. And so what I'm getting at is we need laws to punish the businesses for hiring them. So in other words, like like today, if I'm a drug dealer, if I get busted, but they take everything I got, it should be the same thing with them.
There's already laws on the books. The laws are not being fulfilled. The laws are not being put in place because these business owners benefit from these illegal aliens working for them. So the laws is already there. The laws are not just being upheld. It's already there. There's a bunch of laws out there. There's laws not to kill black people, and they still kill us. So it's not.
I don't think it's laws out there, but it's not laws like they have like the 94 crime bill. It's not laws like that. It's like how they heavily enforce that. If you tie that to snatching a business with the same way as drug dealing and all that with that 94 crime bill, I guarantee you it'll stop overnight. Yeah, they'll still come, but what?
Okay, is there not laws out there that says that businesses are not supposed to hire illegal aliens? Are there not laws out there for that?
Yeah, but what's the punishment for it? There's no punishment. That's what I'm telling you. There's no punishment.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. If they're creating a law, of course there's punishment for it. Every law has a punishment if you break the law. Like I said, they're just not upholding the law. Laws mean nothing if nobody's upholding the law. It's just like if these race soldiers shoot us in the back of the head, knowing they're not supposed to shoot us, but they still walk off guilty. It's not about the law. It's about who upholds the law. Who says, okay, you broke this law and you're going to get punished for it. Laws mean nothing in the system of white supremacy.
Oh, well, I mean, you have your opinion, I have mine. I mean, I still think that the laws they got, they're jokes and that, fine. Mostly, I think happening to them is a fine. When you start snatching some people's businesses, you snatch their business from them, that sends a message. A message.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to the next hand.
Yikes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just have to say this real quick. If you claiming to be B1 and Black First, then first we should get the people who are not in the Black interest out. I mean, there's already laws that's saying that they need to be deported if they're here illegally. That's not the problem. The problem is that there's cities like the one I live in. I live very close, and we were speaking on this earlier, to Mableton. And Mableton is a Latinx city, and it's kind of like, everybody is just omerta, and they ain't saying nothing because we all know these people are here illegally. And I'm not okay with it because they drive down the price of the job that I do. So, I've said this a few times when I came up here, and I appreciate y'all for letting me come up here and speak again. I really appreciate that. But I'm a HVAC technician and a welder. My skills are skills that are shared by several different types of people. Hello?
Yeah, is that all you want to do? Go ahead, continue. Is that it?
No. My skills are shared by a myriad of groups, but because it's available to the people who are here illegally to not have to get a certification, and I have a certification, but they can do it with no certification under the table at jobs essentially for 10, 15, 20 years and never have to move out their job because everyone's not saying anything. It's just, again, quiet. Then that makes it hard for me as somebody who has several, skills, but I can't find a job because everyone here, they're not working off of the law. They're not following the rules. And on top of that, I wanted to also speak to what the Caucasian woman had came up here and said about herself being an immigrant. And I want to say this, immigration affects the people who've been here before y'all got here. So the reason why we're speaking on Latinx immigration is because of all of the issues that it's causing right now. Back then, white people were getting subsidies from the government and government programs that the government essentially paid for when they came over here, and they already benefited off of it. So it's no longer an issue to them whether black people should or shouldn't have reparations. It's no issue to them. They don't have an opinion on it, and they want to toe the fence and, you know, say, oh, well, you guys should get whatever you deserve, but you don't mention cash payments. You don't mention the things that we've already said and what we want and how we're going to get it. You don't mention none of that. You just mentioning, oh, you guys are right and I agree with you. Well, if you agree with us, then you'll sit here and you'll listen before you get up here and start speaking about your own opinion when you don't even know what's going on in the space. So, again, I appreciate y'all for letting me come up here. That's all I had to say.
That's a good point. It's a good point. So it's the Afro and then the hard.
Okay, I wanted to say once again, these spaces like this is very important because immigration is a humongous problem. It's a very big problem. We've had shout out to our brother Rich again. I remember he was a co-host of a space I had where it's calling ICE snitching. And you had little people saying that calling ICE was snitching. We have a big, tremendous problem when it comes to ICE. Now, calling ICE right now is probably not going to be as effective as it would have been if Trump was in office. And we all understand that. However, like the Caucasian woman said, like, what benefit is calling ICE going to do because the president is for illegal immigration? Calling ICE, like I said again, calling ICE is going to do something, because if ICE can't just say, well, the president doesn't care to deport them, so we're not going to investigate. Once the company finds out that ICE is even around the building, the company is going to try to do what they can to clean house. So the company is going to get rid of them regardless, because the company doesn't want to get sued or shut down for having illegal workers like that. So just the fact that ICE shows up, that slows a lot of that noise down. Now, whether the immigrants deport them or not, then that's fine. I don't necessarily need them to be deported as long as they're not taking the resources. And the presence of ICE prevents them from showing up and feeling comfortable enough to take the resources. That's the biggest thing. So I just wanted to say that one more time before I left, because I disagreed that calling ICE isn't going to do anything. Calling ICE won't do anything. And then when the next administration comes, or the next governor comes, because the president only controls the federal law, not the state law. So if you have a red state and the governor is against illegal immigration, calling ICE can do a big factor. So you got to look at it from all of those angles. You can't just look at it from, well, Biden allows it, so calling ICE is useless. If calling ICE was useless, there wouldn't be an ICE. There's still ICE, because Biden can't stop that. Biden can't just completely get rid of that. So I just wanted to say that before, to piggyback off of what she was saying, to counter her narrative that calling ICE was useless.
Brother Afro, I got a question for you, man. I want to ask you this for a long time. You're up in Chicago, brother. You remember, Darren, what was it, the George Floyd protest where just random Latinos were going around attacking black people? Isn't there a mentality as well? Because I know the brother was talking about attack the businesses and all that, but isn't there a street immigrant issue beyond just Fortune 500 companies that goes on?
All right. Yes, there is. I didn't unmute myself. Yes, there is. There's a really bad immigration issues. Chicago, because Chicago is a sanctuary city. It's been a sanctuary city thanks to Rob Emanuel since 2012. So a lot of immigrants come over here. They overstay their visas, and they stay here. They live like 10, 20 deep in one house, and they just be, what's that word? Like idling by on the street. Like they talk about Home Depot. It's not like a lot of Home Depots out here like that, but they'll be idling by on the streets day in and day out. And a lot of the drugs that we get in Chicago come from them. That's how they make their money, because there's such a large amount of them, and a lot of them can't do legal work, so a lot of them do illegal work over here. And they get protected because of Illinois. Well, not Illinois. Chicago is a sanctuary city. Chicago and Cook County are sanctuary cities. I hope that answers your question. If it didn't, just let me know.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect, family. Because I try to tell people all the time, it's not just these big corporations. I see it's becoming a cop out to a degree, where people say, "Oh, let's not focus on the average everyday one out here doing crime. Let's focus on these companies and everything." And like you're saying, it's attached. Like you can't separate the top from the bottom. Because I know there'd be a lot of violence going on out there in Chicago. Same way right in Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, that whole Midwest triangle. I try to tell people. The demographics have actually changed. When I was younger, it used to be Caucasian, Black, and then Hispanic. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Ohio and Michigan are the only two Midwestern states where it's Caucasian and Black. And every other one, Hispanics have passed us. And it goes to what you're saying about the sanctuary cities and the influx of them bringing in drugs and everything above that.
Then not only that, speaking of the crime, because Chicago constantly gets a bad rap when it comes to what they call black on black crime, which I don't use that, but Chicago gets a bad rap when it comes to that. A lot of that is actually committed by these illegal aliens. They come and they commit the crimes, they do the shootings, and they go back to their segregated towns, their segregated little villages. And I say little village because there is a town called Little Village in Chicago, which is where a lot of them are. But the media and the narrative is pointed at, well, look at black people. All crime in Chicago is due to black people. I remember specifically there was this one case where two Hispanic kids, they were like early 20s, late teens. They shot and killed an officer, and they weren't identified for about a week. It was they did it like at the end of the week, and then nobody found out who they were till like the end of the next week. But the narrative was going around that this was about black people. This was some GDs or BDs who did this. This is black violence. And then they caught the people, and they briefly, very briefly, showed a mugshot showing that they were Hispanic kids. Both of these people had Hispanic backgrounds to them, which is what a lot of the crime in Chicago is. A lot of it is in the Hispanics or retaliation from Hispanic communities that a lot of people don't want to talk of. There's a whole Hispanic gang that has a splinter groups of different gangs called the Latin Kings in Chicago. And when people talk about gangs in Chicago, they talk about the BDs or the GDs or the Vice Lords, the Blackstones, but they don't talk about the Latin Kings. And the Latin Kings, they're the ones who get the shipments of drugs, because these drugs come from non-American countries. These drugs come from south of the border. So they got the hookup when it comes to all of these hard drugs.
That's fire right there. Brother Rich, elaborate on the same thing about that street crime and how they do it up in New York.
Oh, yeah, it's the same thing in New York City. The same thing Afro is talking about is the same thing that goes on in the New York City, the Bronx. I remember that kid Junior who got stabbed up about 4 or 5 years ago. That was done from a Latino gang, did that to him. It was mistaken identity. So it's the same thing over here. I also want to mention when non-trade gangsters back in 1993 on Rikers Island. For those of you who are not from New York City, Rikers Island is a jail where they house New Yorkers right before they go upstate. It's gladiator schools, the worst of the worst. So back in 1993, non-trade gangsters was formed on Rikers Island because white Hispanics were going after black people. And that's how they were formed. And when non-trade was formed, non-trade smashed the shit, sorry for cursing, but smashed the shit out of those white Hispanics. They no longer exist today. Matter of fact, there's a big homie named Magoo who was a white Hispanic, and he was Latin King, I believe. And he was locked up on Rikers Island back in 93, and all the Latino dudes ran on him. And when they ran on him, he decided to drop that flag, drop the Latino flag, and join the United Blood Nation. And he's a Latino, and he became the big homie of United Blood Nation. So that's just a little New York history when it comes to white Hispanics and black people and gangs. So Magoo, he's a white Hispanic, and he's now one of the big homies of the United Blood Nation, a white Hispanic.
That goes to show you right there, we're connecting it all. We're connecting the political world in terms of these immigrants coming over here. We talk about it in the healthcare system. We talk about it from the police department, where a lot of these immigrants are taking police jobs. All that stuff, what they talk about is just labor and labor and labor. That's just one aspect of it, because all across the board in all corridors, you see it from a street level. We connected the drugs to it. So when someone talks about will I call ICE or not, it's not just one aspect. It's not just somebody taking a job at Burger King. It's these people bringing drugs to the community, bringing violence to the community, and they always come to target foundational Black Americans. Brother Hard, go ahead.
Hey, Black First Peoples. I appreciate the conversation, and shout out to each and every last one of y'all, Brother Alpha, Rich, Queen Alpha. I appreciate y'all hosting this. Bottom line, like, if we were doing this, like when I was growing up, I'm from Long Island, New York. I didn't see the whole damn thing change. You know what I'm saying? Had we had that mentality instead of idolizing or revering, you know what I'm saying? We talk about how they'll come and pack up 13 to a house, to a little 2-bedroom apartment. You know what I'm saying? If we had been on it like how y'all talking now, we probably would have had a couple of strongholds. So nah, it ain't snitching, and it is patriotic. And if they are against you and systematically, you know, moving and spreading us apart, we got to fight back against that. Now, have the proper expectations, because folks been calling ICE, you know what I'm saying? So just work the system, hold those folks accountable, and do it that way. And I land my plane with that.
That's a good point. That's another thing we were saying earlier. If anybody missed it, we talked about how annually America spends $300 billion on illegal immigration. $300 billion. So if your child was 5 years old today, that would be over $1 trillion. From when your child was born to right now, that's $1 trillion based on this. So we're all tax-paying citizens right here in America, and all law-abiding citizens. So therefore, anyone telling you that it's non-patriotic or it ain't the thing to do, no. If you can go to war and they say that's patriotic, then calling ICE is patriotic as well. Brother Black C, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, fam? I want to say shout out to the host for holding this space. Good conversation. I'm gonna start off by saying I don't think that it's snitching for choosing to call ICE. And I guess the question would be, for anybody who thinks that, what action should we take then at the end of the day? What should we do then to respond? Because you can't just sit on your hands. We know that. So I think that there have to be some type of actions taken. I think right now, the most productive thing that we don't have everything organized yet, is to just go ahead for individuals to do what they feel is necessary. And I think over time, that's actually going to build relationships. I also was considering too that you actually could build relationships with the ICE organizations by virtue that they recognize that there are a certain percentage of citizens or citizenship that's actually standing behind their cause. Where I live in the DMV. In certain areas, particularly in Maryland, Virginia is too, so is D.C. in certain areas, but the sanctuary city thing, and Prince George's County, which is the largest Black county in the area, it's also the wealthiest. ICE has pretty much said that they're not going to work with the city council members. The other way around, city council members said they're not going to work with ICE. So I'm thinking about the situation that we have locally here, and how, you know, certain factions of ICE would probably be ecstatic to hear that they are collectives, or potentially that people have started to build some type of form of cohesive units that would support their causes. Because you got people who are in the county that are supposed to represent citizens that have told ICE directly they're not standing beside them. They're standing beside their illegal citizens, or legal residents, pardon me. So I feel like I don't see anything wrong with that. And I think that anyone who's saying that there is something wrong with that is pretty much trying to use that as a tactic, to bait you and guilt you in and make you feel as though you turning sides on somebody, like we have the same, like it's the same common situation, and it is not. I would say that. I want to say one other thing too. I believe the gentleman by the name, he went by the tag of LTC. When he first was coming on, and one of the hosts had kind of slowed him down and said, we're going to let you speak at the end, he had blurted out a comment that we need to deal with the politicians. Everybody on this call, including Another Day, understands that that's a necessity. So that goes without saying anything. But, I mean, I think about it like this. Like, in Kenya, let's take for instance, which I believe the brother is either from or connected to, they push people out. I said, so what's the difference here at the end of the day? If we're citizens, if this is our land, if this is where we're from, what is the difference in taking the same stance to say we're not going to allow out migration to come in for job purposes or other purposes? So I don't understand, and he didn't fully, explain himself, but I don't understand why the perspective would be to take it out on the policy.
You don't have to address that dude because that dude is a groupie. He comes into every chat that we're in and he's the opposing view and he just rants and rants and rants and rants. He's just a troll and a detractor. He's just a groupie. You don't really gotta.
Okay, no problem. Well, I just wanted to throw that out there because I live in an area too where there's a heavy population of people who have immigrated to the United States from many different places, and a lot of times these conversations that we have seem to be kind of like insulated to the United States. But then what I started doing is asking people, what about the policies in their country? What do people do in their country when people come in with large influxes? Do you take the same approach where you take a passive approach or just understand that everybody holds hands? And emphatically, no. When you start to actually do the research or push back on other people, they got the same situations going on in their own countries, and they don't want a influx of people who are not from that culture, from that country, coming in, taking over things or affecting things any more than we do. With that, I'll land my plane. Thanks for letting me speak.
Was it a Divine, Jana, I think, and then Marlo?
Thanks for coming back around to me, family. I know with Another Day, she's long gone. But I know she was saying that she didn't understand the history back into the 1860s, but she didn't have to go that far because we know about the Central Park Five, what she was alive for and in New York City for. And we also know about the assassination of Yusuf Hawkins in Bensonhurst when Rich asked her if that's the area she was from. That's a strong Italian-American stronghold here in Brooklyn. And so this is recent history that she knows about and was alive for. And what I know, growing up in Brooklyn, being here all my life, is that those Italian people, they are a community. They talk with one another, and even the ones that are blatantly racist, and she's claiming that she's not one of those, based on her community, based on the neighborhood she grew up in. The bottom line is she understands those sentiments. So whether she's a racist or not, that's beyond the point. What I do know is that she knows other Italians that are racist. And so for her to come in and pretend that she don't know that Donald Trump is racist based on what he did about the Central Park Five, that's just disingenuous, but y'all talked about that, so I don't want to beat that dead horse, right? But the one thing I wanted to point out and kind of piggyback on what Afro was talking about, or Rich pointed out, is that in addition to, and Black Alpha said, in addition to like the issue of jobs and opportunity and just suppressing our wages, what can't be underreported is how illegal immigration affects the street game and affects crime. Out here in Canarsie area of Brooklyn, Flatbush area of Brooklyn, those are Caribbean American strongholds. And most of the crime that happens in those areas are holdovers and overlap from street crimes that's going on in their countries and on their islands. And they bring that here. There was just a story where it was a drive-by in Canarsie, and some Jamaicans were involved, and it was some Jamaican street business from back in Jamaica. So that happens, and we understand that. And even when we think about the that Stop Asian Hate campaign that was going on, and some of the more blatant attacks that happened recently, almost 100% of those people that they were trying to pin on the Black American community were immigrants. So it was immigrant on immigrant crime, not us attacking any particular demographic, Asian group, or anything else. And so that's why, again, I got it in the Jumbotron. We are pushing for disaggregation in New York City. I said this in the last space because I think that's the first step.
Divine.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I'm willing to go as far as saying that about 75% of the crime in New York City is done by black immigrants. What you think?
Yo, I listen, 70% is the bare minimum. You understand? Like, and I totally agree with you. I think it's more than that. And I think disaggregation is going to tell that story, and that's why they fighting against it so hard. Because once that is in the front of it, once that's in the forefront, then we could stop all this pathologizing of our community. Because again, like I said, we were never a people that did all that type of shit. Like, we respected the street game, we had ethics, we talked about that, the code and shit. We always had that. These other individuals that come here, they have melanin, but in every country that they come from, except for small pockets in the Caribbean, they are from majority, quote unquote, melanated countries governed by majority melanated people, but they have no identity of unity around the concept of blackness, whether it be identity or political identity. And so that's what's happening when they come here. There is no solidarity because they've never unified around blackness. It's always been around tribe, family name, or part of the island that you grew up, or island in particular. So there is no unity for them around that, the way in which we have coalesced around black as our identity because of our unique relationship with this country. So I want to just lastly say, before I get off the stage, and again, thank you guys for this space. Like, in other countries, Black Sea talked about it. You can look it up, and that's why it is my thought process that the diaspora brings xenophobia into this country with them. We have never been against anybody else. We have always invited them into our communities, whether it's economically or otherwise, to our detriment, and I'm glad that we're changing that now. But when you look at what happens around the world with the diaspora, when they go into these other countries and there is an influx, like Black Sea said, not only are those natives in the uproar, as they should be, rightfully so. But the things that they have done that we have never done, and why they should be glad that we're just talking about calling ICE, is that there have been physical, violent opposition to when other people come into the country, whether they have melanin or not. They are fighting, they are killing them when they want them about the paint. So I think these other immigrants that come here, whether they have melanin or not in America, be glad that we just talking about calling ICE and not putting you on ICE. Because other places around the country, around the world, that's what they do when people come into their country and they feel threatened, whether they're taking jobs, opportunities, or otherwise. And we have never been that type of people, but we have every right to protect our communities and make sure that our collective uplift happens on the terms that we want it to happen on. Again, thank y'all for this space. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
What Divine is saying is 100% true. I study these things. Remember, I'm not Generation Z. I'm still a millennial. So these folks he's talking about that's committing the crimes, I stand next to them. I know who they are. I know what background they come from. From Canarsie to Flatbush. I'm from Flatbush, so I know who's doing what. And when I study where they come from, all of them come from immigrant background. Every last one of them. All the shootings since, I would say, 2010 in New York City has come from black immigrants. They come here, and the first thing they want to do is they want to go to war with each other. And they start a war. The war doesn't end until the war never ends, actually. It starts with one person dies, and then they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There's never a truce. There's never anything like that. So what our brother's saying is 100% right. We got the GDs in Flatbush. We got the Woos in Canarsie. I know everything that's going on with them. Every last one of them. Matter of fact, there was a young kid, I believe he was 18 or 19 from Trinidad. He killed a 12-year-old kid from mistaken identity. The child was walking home, coming from school, and it hurts my heart. He was walking home, coming from school, relaxing. This immigrant walked outside his car, ran up to him because he thought that dude was an op, shot him cold blood, right in his head, 12 years old. And that kid that did it was 19 years old. He was from Trinidad. Guyana or Trinidad, one of them. And killed the innocent child. So this is what I'm talking about when we speak about what's going on in New York City and Chicago, like Afro Elite says. This is what's going on. They're committing the most violent, dangerous crimes. But I'm going to let the hands speak. I believe Jaina was next.
Hey family, I just wanted to speak on a topic. It's calling ICE patriotic. Yes, I think it's patriotic. They are not our responsibility. We should be calling ICE on them. But my thing is, when we call ICE and they get deported and all of that stuff, and we're like working on our communities, what are we going to do within our communities? Like, you know, these immigrants are running the stores, hair stores, nail salons or whatever. They're running black women out of the nail salons or whatever. What are we going to do about that? What is the or else?
We're putting the cart before the horse. We got to start doing something. Then when we start doing something, and then what we do is we examine the results. In white society, they examine all the numbers that call in, that comes in. So let's say we keep a chart of how much times we have called ICE. Let's say, I believe it's 200 of us in here, and we call ICE 5,000 times. In white society, they keep a score of every single movement that they make. So 5,000 of us call ICE. Let's say 500 illegal immigrants left the country. We got them deported. And then let's say another 1,000 was able to, get away. That's the next step. We can't put the cart before the horse first, before we even start. First of all, we can't even agree that is patriotic, because we got black people coming in here saying you a snitch if you do that. So first we got to figure out if everybody's on the same page, and then we'll move on to the next step. We can't be skipping steps. A lot of people like to skip steps and go on to the next thing. No, first we got to deal with this situation here, figure out if it's the right move that we should be making, and then we start making it. Then we examine the results, see if it's working. If it's working, we continue doing it, and then we start doing other moves. That's the first step.
Yeah, and I don't even understand the people that be saying that you're a snitch if you call ICE, because you can't call the people that was in the warehouse. I think Nas posted it. I don't know his whole name, but he posted the warehouse called ICE on 800 Mexicans or whatever, and they got deported. So can you really call them snitching or ratting if they're literally, trying to fight for their job and hours and wages? I don't even understand that. But at the same time, minus all of that, what happens when, there's an Asian and they have these nail salons and they're, kicking black women out of it and all of that stuff? Where is the community policing with that? That's what I'm trying to, say, where is the gang activity, the Crips and Bloods? And I think that we need to gather with that and, unite in the community and, fight that on that front. If,
that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, sister. Go ahead, Rich.
I was just going to say we're going to move on to the next hand. I don't know who's next. I believe it's Sudoku, though.
Okay, thank you all for letting me speak. I thank you all for having this space, and thank you for the conversation that you've had so far, because I've been listening intently, and it's refreshing to hear us get on code, be on code, and talk about the real issues and get to the crux. And I think this is what this conversation does. It gets to the crux of real issues inside of the Black community, Black American community. We're talking about real, solid, deep issues here that needs to be resolved, that we need to solve, that we need to get redressed from. One of the main reasons I came up to the mic, I wanted to speak about the Caucasian Italian female who came up and it was waffling back and forth. I didn't sense any kind of genuine interest from her in addressing anything. She was waffling on all of the issues. The tone was one of disdain and disposition. I'm used to hearing that because I'm older, And I can, my ear is tuned in for that type of language that she was using. She was othering black people. She said the blacks. Okay, that is othering us. When you say the blacks, okay, because you would have said black people, that's different. But othering us is the blacks. There was also some issues when she couldn't decide on the Republicans, whether they were doing anything, or had they done anything or so forth. She was not, she was disingenuous when she didn't answer that. But she wanted to come hard on the Democrats. That's another waffling point that she was doing. There were several, just many others. She couldn't get reparations right. She understands reparations. She understands that the Jews have been paid reparations, and they did receive land, and they do receive cash payments, and Israel receives money repeatedly from America to the tune of $4, $5, $6 billion a year, along with weapons, in-kind weapons, and so on and so forth. Israel, they receive lots of money from America. They receive money from the Jewish community, who has a great amount of wealth in America, so they support the Jews, their country, Israel, in addition to the government, and also they tweak policies because they're in positions of power, and they tweak policy for Israel. So we're not going to play these games where anyone come up waffling and pretending like they don't know what the issues are or don't know how reparations was paid. Everybody is very well versed in this country about the Jewish issue, because anytime you say anything about Israel, you consider to be anti-Semitic, or you anti-Jewish, or any other kind of situation where they come about. We have to have reparations. We have to do, the work that we need to do, and we can't coalesce with people who are disingenuous. And I really appreciate you all being able to call people out and not let them scuttle these issues and not let them get away with, waffling, because I call it, straddling the fence. You want to double speak and so forth. You talking one way and talking out the other way. We have to call these things out. And I just appreciate you all doing this, and really thanking you all for having this room. It's just a great pleasure for me to come in at this age and really see our people getting on code. And I just want to finish up by saying about these immigrants. I did just watch the video of a Trinidadian coming here and committing the most heinous crime. And so you're right to call out all these different immigrants that come over here and get to cosplay us or tether or receive all these benefits, but they committing all these crimes, these atrocious crimes. I'm glad you all brought up the drug issue. We don't grow cocaine here. We don't make heroin here. We don't make fentanyl here. So how's it get in our community? It has to be someone looking like us, playing us, or some bringing all this crime and these drugs into our community, because we didn't do that. I like, there was a couple of people, Rich, Divine, that was saying, that these things are going on and we got to call it out. And it's about time we called it out. Jamaicans bought a lot of drugs in here. We got to look at that. We got to call this stuff out. We can't no longer sit back and say, no, they're cool. No, you're the one bringing this crime. You're the one causing this dysfunction in our community. You're the one called like the pathologies he called it. No, you're doing this. These are the things that you all are doing. And we want to disaggregate. We want to delineate, because we want to prove that this crime and these high vicious, violent crimes is being committed by them. I'll land right there. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for letting me speak.
Tanisha, it's on you. It's on you.
There you go, fam.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak. We had a few people who called in earlier and said that, well, what is calling ICE on your neighbor going to do? We have to think more logical than that. I'm thinking there was a call maybe about an hour ago where somebody said that Tyson brought in 20,000 people or 200,000 people or something like that. And that's where we need to be focusing on. We need to be having these calls and pointing out these companies. Had we known that Tyson had that many people in, all 300 of us, or however many people who are on this call, we could have called ICE every day for 30 days and forced them to go in there. And that, would also benefit us. And when the people left, it would create a lot of open jobs. And I just wanted to see what you guys thought about that.
That's a great point you made. Like we do that, call ICE for 30 days, get them out of there, and at the same time, have a group of Black Americans waiting to get online. As soon as they get fired, we form a line for the Black Americans and have them apply for the jobs that Tyson just lost. So that's what you said is 100% true. That it does make sense.
Yeah, we need to go through all these warehouses and factories and any place, target them in large numbers, get them out.
And
because
also,
it's too much.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because it's too much going on. I'm here in California, and I know like a few registered nurses who went to school and got degrees, but they can't get a job in the hospital because the hospital's telling them, oh, well, the majority of our patients are Spanish, so we only want, Spanish speaking. And it's taking them forever to find jobs. We got to do something about this.
Exactly. And I already know we have people in here who just come in and babble. That's why I get them out of here quick. The people who make sense, I'll let you, speak your mind. But once you start babbling, I'll let you get a minute of babbling in, and I'll move you forward. I already know the people who come in here just babbling, talking about we need to unite, and that's just old talking points. I just let them just talk for 2 seconds and keep it moving.
We got to do something about this.
I like the point you made, sister, how we could all get together and actually have some type of cohesion in what we do, something that's actually orchestrated. Like you said, we had 300 people in here. Everybody called at a particular time. It's like boycotting. They did this in the 60s and 70s. There's power in numbers. You know what I'm saying? Teamwork made the dream work. So we all put together on the same page. That's why you have spaces like this, because overwhelmingly it's been people say, yes, I will call ICE. So if you can take that same thing and channel it, I'm all for picking a day. You can pick 6, 7, 8 days out the rest of the year, out the summer, whatever. And we could all put it on something that we can point to and say, that right there, something tangible, not just tangible in terms of what the government gives us. We can have tangible boycotts that we all participate in, and things like calling ICE on one particular day or having foundational Black Americans that are separate from them and letting the world know that we're on this side and they're on that side, and whatever the Democrats try to put on us or try to tell us to say, we don't represent that. We have our own independent thoughts. So I say we should all do it in cohesion. So that's a good point.
And by the way, I don't want this to go over people's heads, because what she said is call ICE for 30 days, get them out of there. But don't forget the part where I said, as they're exiting the building, we have Black Americans online entering the building. Don't let that go over your head. The illegal immigrants is exiting Tyson. Black Americans is entering to go apply for the jobs. It's a real quick swap.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And we just, have these calls, I don't know, weekly or what have you, and focus on one company. And we just call that company every week. And just follow things how you said. As they exit out, Black people go in and get them jobs.
And that's how you produce justice. We're going to move on to the next hand of...
I think it was Marlo.
Marlo, yeah, it's Marlo.
All peace and love to the family. The speakers already hit on some good points. I just want to add on to some of them. Coming from this whole immigration thing, it hurts us in the street level and on the corporate level. And Rich and Afro explained the street level, and this the sister who just talked is speaking it on a job level, and it's dangerous for FBA, because the media is so deceptive about who does what crime, and it just makes it a blackface, and we're just like the enemy, like the target behind that. Brother Nas put up a tweet where 2 brothers killed their grandmother, and they didn't even specify where they came from. Like Nas had to re-clarify where they came from, and it was just like face value. It just seemed like, oh, Black people just doing this, but he's like, oh no, they just from somewhere else and just did this grimy stuff right here. So at first I thought ICE was like a political weapon that Trump would use for the whole wall situation, but the way y'all presented it is a whole tool that we can use so we can stop this whole immigration and them using blackface against us. So I appreciate the host and the co-hosts presenting this idea, because I wasn't really thinking about ICE as a tool per se. I was thinking it as just a political stance that Trump was using before. I wasn't really thinking of it in the spectrum y'all was talking about.
Exactly. Will, it's on you. Will, it's on you.
Hey, good evening, brothers. How y'all doing? Oh, everybody in the room, how y'all doing?
Good day, brother. What's going on?
Not much, not much. I'll be quick. I know we got a lot of speakers in the room. Just want to say it's a good space. To answer the question, is ICE patriotic? Yes, it is. Well, it's calling ICE patriotic. Yes, it is. This is our country. We have to keep it safe. We have to protect our own borders. And you guys have covered all the points, I think, tonight, even with developing a plan of action. And just look forward to seeing the plan come to fruition, and just look forward to keep pushing this agenda forward. Oh, and great job on. I know Marcel is gone. I heard him speak a little bit earlier. Great job when he was covering on that, with calling ICE twice. Everything that he said. My first time really listening to him like that, and it was great. Some of the points I agree with 100%. The young lady that came in earlier, which was talking about replacing once immigrations are gone, replacing them, and Rich hit on this too a little second ago. Sorry for talking so fast, guys. I'm just getting off work, getting settled down and everything. But this is a great space. Keep it going. I look forward to the debate on Monday. But this is a great space tonight, man. Y'all keep it going. Keep the education going. Keeping the community informed. Great space.
Appreciate that, brother. Mona and then Destro.
Thanks for having me on, brothers. So I'm from Chicago. One of the gentlemen mentioned earlier about Little Village, in terms of a lot of immigrants there causing a lot of havoc. But the woman that spoke about California in terms of the nurses, I am in the medical field, and I know exactly what she means in terms of that not being able to get jobs because you can't speak Spanish. We had a group of nurses that were black nurses that learned how to speak Spanish, and then they were still denied because they were like, it was the sort of way in which they were speaking. So in terms of going to other factories and finding out who works there, that is absolutely on point. The gentleman from Chicago, Bedford Park, have hundreds and hundreds of factory jobs down there. It's raining in Chicago right now. That's where he held the window. Hundreds and hundreds of jobs down there. I have family that work in management in these factories jobs, right? And everybody in the job are either who work the job because they don't use those I-9 forms at all, because they come in, because a lot of them come in there and they come in there with falsified information. They are not legally documented Americans. You know, everybody want to be able to take care of their family. It's fine, but you can't take care of your family on top of our families. So I'm with the young lady there. Whatever we need to do, I have listed this over and over again, all the factories. I have even rode around and looked at those. And then here's another thing. I have complained about Busta Rhymes for years. And when Busta Rhymes said that no snitching, that is truly a Jamaican thing, no snitching. And Busta Rhymes is not about our people. I've complained about him on Twitter. He had to watch out. He tell our people not to snitch. He'd send his kid to $100,000 a year schools, right? So I'm with y'all. Whatever we need to do in order to report to ICE, I'm there. But thank you so much for allowing me to talk. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Good points as well. Brother Destro. Destro, go ahead and mute yourself.
Hello. How y'all doing?
I'm doing good. What's on your mind?
Now, I'm just educating myself. I'm just listening. I have a question. Are y'all gonna be targeting other black people, like from the Caribbean and
all the
Africa?
black people who's not here, all the black people who are not American citizens. That's right.
What if they have a green card?
So?
That means they're legal. Are y'all gonna be targeting them?
First off, we're not targeting anybody. What we're being is law-abiding, tax-paying citizens. And same thing that goes on in any community where people focus on the riffraffs inside of the community. And if you have a green card and you're still acting in fraudulent or criminal activity, yes, you will be called out upon it. So a green card is no pass to get out of jail free. A green card is no pass to participate in criminality. So for those without a green card who's doing criminality, and for those with the green card doing criminality, they will both get called on you. Either you're going to get ICE called on you or you're going to get straight police. So all the green card does is make me call the police instead of calling ICE.
Exactly, because there's a lot of green card African Caribbean brothers that are doing a lot of mischief in Chicago. So what, you got a green card?
Okay. So I have another question. Are y'all gonna be advocating for some type of reform in the black culture? I mean,
Okay,
FBA culture.
brother, where you at now? Because I'm about to call ice on you. Because right now you're giving me, you know what, energy. So where you at now? Give me a text, DM me your address. Okay, our brother is running. Our brother is running. Are you here, brother?
Can you answer my question? You're just showing.
What's your question, brother?
I asked if you're gonna advocate for some type of reform in FBA culture.
We're advocating for calling ICE on people who come here and commit crimes. Is your paperwork good? Are you committing crimes over there? Because you speaking very low, like you in a basement or something. Is everything okay?
Everything good, man. It's late. My mom is sleeping.
Okay, thank you so much, brother. I think you thought you was calling into a porn chat. This is not a porn chat. This is a FBA space where we're talking about is ICE patriotic. So, brother, go back to the basement and go sleep next to mama. Okay, thank you so much.
Hey, did he say LBA culture or was that an F? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, he's just being slick. He's basically saying Black Americans need to get their stuff together. He thought he was smooth. He's not smooth enough.
Hey, quote to you, Destro. Speak English before you try to troll. We don't understand trolling, man, when you sound like you're chewing on bricks. Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on the brother from Chicago. He's talking about the gang stuff. I'm from Chicago myself. And El Chapo used to have a straight line going through Chicago. That's how the drugs got through Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan and Ohio. You know, and far as the Latin Kings, that was founded in Chicago also. And the founder of it is half black. His father's black and his mother's Puerto Rican. But he put in the bylaws that the Latin Kings, I think the first law is do not associate with Black Americans. So he had a whole lot of self-hatred going on. And when you go to the crack era in Washington, D.C., the majority of those crimes were committed by the Jamaican posse. They were real violent. And then you go over to L.A., a lot of the Crips and Bloods, a lot of them guys is from Belize. So we get blamed for a whole lot of shit that's going on that we're not really part of, you know. Like that Hispanic woman said, we got to stop black on black crime. Always check people with that. Because if you're not going to say Mexican on Mexican crime and they killing each other wholesale down there with that cartel shit, is no such thing as black on black crime. Because if you're not going to call out everybody else that's killing each other, they're killing them own selves, don't put a special target on us. And I just want to say the last thing to that sister that was saying, well, what do we do about the nail shops? I went through this before. I don't know if she's still here or not. Just stay your black ass out of them. Tell your other sisters, stay up out of the nail shops. Suffocate them economically. It's an easy thing to do. You ain't got to bust nothing. It's easy. That's something we have 100% control of. All right, I'm out.
And by the way, our brother Ben, he touched on the Jamaican posse. They're still alive and causing destruction today, right here in Brooklyn, New York. They connected from Brooklyn, New York, straight to Jamaica. What's his name? His name is Dudas. I think I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but his name is Dudas. He's one of the founders either of the Jamaican posse or another gang. He's not the founder. His father was the founder, and they passed it down to him. He was coming in from Jamaica to New York City with hundreds of pounds of you know what, and distributing it throughout the Bronx in New York City. So I know about the Jamaican posse. They shed a lot of blood out here in New York City and in other states in America.
Because Alpo was Hispanic, correct?
Yeah, he was Puerto Rican. Yep. And we see how grimy that nigga was. He was very, very grimy. So yeah, Marlo, go ahead. It's on you.
One more thing, then I'll go back to the listener. I don't know who the outliers are who saying, calling ISIS snitching, but if they're black and saying it, I hope they know personally that saying it's snitching is hurting themselves, because we're all just saying they're going to put a black face on it. We're the targets. They're not our allies to begin with, and I hope all these Biden sexuals. I hope they got what they wanted, because now we're about to counter that. Like Chicago get a bad rap, Baltimore get a bad rap, all these major cities that they keep putting a black face on, we all get a bad rap for it, and it's not even us. It is not even us at all.
The people who are co-signing, saying that it's snitching, it's the 1% in our community. It's the so-called gangsters. They're the ones that's saying it's snitching if you call ICE. It's them. And the beautiful thing about that is they're not the majority, and they don't determine what we do, because in no other society does the gangsters decide what the majority does. It's the other way around. So they can continue yelling out loud and screaming about how we're snitching, but we over here, we are law-abiding citizens. They're so silly, they don't even know the definitions to words. A snitch is somebody who commits a crime with someone else, and when they get locked up, they snitch on that person. That's the definition of a snitch. If you wake up every day and you go to work and you pay your bills and you pay your taxes, that you're not a snitch. You're a law-abiding citizen. You mind your business. You mow your lawn. You pay your taxes. Who are you snitching on? There's nobody to snitch on. You don't commit crimes. So these silly niggas, and like I said, I invite them to come speak, because a few of them was in here and all they did was listen. So much for being a gangster. But yeah, if they want to come in here and speak and give their pledge and talk about how it's snitching to call ICE, they're welcome to come in. I don't deny anybody from speaking, whether you agree with me or not. But yeah, these silly niggas, I seen all they tweets yesterday. They promoting snitching. They promoting snitching. And this is the problem with these silly niggas. They think we live by their laws. They think everybody's a street person. No, you're living by my rules. My rules is what the average person lives by. It's not the other way around. 99% of people do not commit crimes. So you're living by our rules. I'm not living by your rules as a gangster. Go ahead, Black Alpha. Black Alpha, you there? Okay, I don't know if it's me, but I can't hear Black Alpha.
Hey, Rich, can I pose a question to you?
I can't hear him. I can't hear Black Alpha.
Okay, go ahead, Marlo.
Just the troll that was just coming in. If the roles were reversed, you think he would snitch on us and call ICE? If he knew that we was living off the resources that he had?
Oh, absolutely he would. But see, the beautiful thing about trolls, the reason why I let them come up, because once you let a fool speak, he does the job for you. You don't need to go back and forth with him. Just let him speak, and his words will eat him up alive. That's why I let them come up. And some people, I let them stay on stage, because when you don't have anything to hide, you can allow other people to speak. It's when you have something to hide, you don't want people who disagree with you to speak. I don't have anything to hide. They can come in and ask me any question I want. But to answer your question, oh, they absolutely would. I mean, to be honest, when I'm in these rental places, when I'm in these corporate offices, the people who give me the hardest times is the black African coons. The black immigrants from Africa. They give you the hardest times. They cock block the most. You would think that, okay, I'm black, he's black. Let me see if he's gonna let me slide. No, they're gonna give you the hardest time. They're gonna tell you, oh, like you'll be like for instance, last month I was in a rental place and I gave him my credit card and my ID. but the address I had on file was not the same as the address on my credit card. And the African, the Black American, he was cool. He was just like, yo, you know what? You can't rent here because the address needs to be the same. We're going to cancel your policy and you just got to come back and change the address. So I was like, okay, cool. The African, he was the one making a scene. He was the one like, no, you cannot rent here. You cannot do that. No, you cannot do that. And I'm like, dude, just relax. Take a deep breath. It's not that serious. I'm not even upset about the situation. But they're the one that do the extra stuff, the extra grimy shit where they could look out for you, but they don't because you're not another African.
Wasn't it just in Michigan where that immigrant brother got shot? Am I wrong about that, Brother Rich?
I believe it was Michigan, I believe. Yep.
And you saw how his family said, we thought we was coming to America basically for the American dream. And it was everything except for we came over here to connect with other Black people. They have their own mentality that they bring in from their other countries. I tell Black people all the time, study global anti-Black racism or global foundational Black American anti-Black racism, because we got our own different anti-Black racism. You have the racism that affects all melanated people, and then we got our own exclusive version. And the problem is our exclusive version is usually practiced by other Black people. You go down to Mexico, it's the same way. All through the Caribbean, it's the same way. Africa, you go to Asia, people hate Black folks, and then they really hate foundational Black Americans, because like I always say, we're the only supremacy defiant people on the planet. Nobody else has really ever fought supremacy like we do. And they come over here because the whole world knows what happens right here in America, because hell, they dress like us, they walk like us, they talk like us. So they know what we do here in America. And they come over here and they try to get brownie points. They didn't see the Sandra Blands, the Rakita Boys, the Corinne Gaines, the Jordan Davises, the Sam DeBows, the Trayvon Martins, the Mike Browns, the Freddie Grays, the Alta Sterlings, the Philando Castillos. They didn't see that and say, oh, that's my brother over there hurting. They came over here and said, let me get in on that. When I go over there, I'm going to support the people who are doing the harming of the FBAs. That's the mentality that these people have. It's that sick, detested mentality that a lot of these supremacist minions have and a lot of these immigrant minions of supremacy have. They don't come over here to connect with Black people through our pain and suffering or any of that. They come over here to get in on the race soldier. So basically, if you had FBAs on one side and you had the dominant society on the other, they're going to always go over to the dominant society side. They'll step away from us all the time. It's a lot of jealousy. It's a lot of hatred. It's a lot of envy. And it's a lot of want to snuggle up next to white folks. And this is where the mentality comes. And the only people I've seen here today that have a problem with calling ICE is either ignorant street dudes or people from a Democratic background or that supremacist lady who was jumping all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Those are the three people that you consistently see that are opposing calling ICE. Everybody else overwhelmingly said, I'm going to call ICE. I'm going to do it over and over. We broke it down from the street level to the drug aspects to the Fortune 500 companies, the CEOs, the politicians, everybody's agenda to bury foundational Black Americans under immigration. Because for the dominant society, that's advantageous, because now the only people who have ever fought, white supremacy, which is us, we're the thorn in their side, we're the 500-year headache that they've had. They'd rather replace us with people who are docile and people who are submissive to them. So anytime an immigrant comes over here, they love to lock arms with the dominant society and come after us. And if you're a white person, you're thinking, why should I deal with foundational Black Americans who always stand on their own and fight back, when I can go get another person from another country who's going to go against them and do their dirty work for us? Like Brother Rich was saying, half of the police doing stop and frisk, and then why have an immigrant background? So anytime we see these race soldiers harming our people, we got to understand these race soldiers are the immigrants that we talk about. We're the immigrants, all the time you see they're the same people that have issues with foundational Black Americans in all aspects in education. A lot of people I know have had problems with immigrant teachers. Young kids do. I mean, anywhere you find them, you're going to find anti-foundational Black American racism. So we have to understand they're not coming over here to be our friends, not to be our brothers, not to be our sisters. All we got is each other, and they'll do anything to go above us and to get brownie points from the dominant society.
And by the way, guys, Mayor Eric Adams in New York City is Jamaican.
Ketanji Brown, she's from immigrant background as well.
Mayor Eric Adams, the white supremacist in blackface, is Jamaican. Sorry to say it, guys. This is the honest truth. I've been as a child in New York City. I've seen with my own eyes my family members getting locked up. And the police officer that does the most grimiest shit is an immigrant, whether it's an Indian one, a black one, or a Chinese one. In New York City, they get the craziest. The white guy, the white police officer, he's sitting back relaxing. The immigrants is going crazy. The black immigrants, the Hispanic immigrants, police officers, they're the ones that's whooping your ass. They're the ones that take the baton out and start whooping your ass with that shit. If you remember back when the George Floyd situation, when all those police videos you were seeing where police were abusing protesters, examine the videos and see who's doing the most. I believe Volvo was. Let me accept them real quick. Go ahead, Volvo.
I just want to touch on a couple top topics real fast. Eric Adams is Jamaican?
Yes, he is. And by the way, his brother's also a police lieutenant.
Yeah, can you send me something on that? I thought he was foundational. That's disappointing for me. Damn, I ain't know that. But I wanted to touch on the street dudes that because I heard Bruss say, Alpha said that we broke it down in every way. For the street dudes, understand this. This is the way I think. We are a nation within a nation. So we're going to have all types of people. We're going to have all types of people. In any nation, you got all types of people. You got criminals, you got politicians, you got drug dealers, you got doctors, you got lawyers, you got smart people, you got dumb people, you got women, you got children, you got everything in a nation of people. And in our nation of people, this nation that's within a nation, we will always be treated different than the other people. If you is a black politician, you gonna be treated different than the other politicians. If you are a black doctor, you're gonna be treated different than the other doctors. If you a prostitute, you're gonna be treated different than the white prostitutes. If you're a drug dealer, you're gonna be treated different than the other drug dealers. Look at when the crack epidemic, they was giving crackheads 20 years for one rock. That happened. 1 gram of crack was the same as 100 grams of cocaine. So you're gonna be treated different. If you in the streets, look at Tekashi 6ix9ine. He got off. He's around here today, running around America doing anything. And he was the ringleader. And the other guys, the black guys, got forever and a day in jail. They in jail for years and years and years. So if you still on that street shit, talking about you ain't gonna call the police because you on some street shit, you is a goofy. You is a goofy. You are a part of a nation of people that will always be mistreated. This shit is not fair. So you gotta let that type of shit go. This for any street dudes that's in the room. I don't know. I stepped out the room. I didn't hear all the conversation. I stepped out for a couple hours. But listen, you can't be playing that street game. This shit bigger than your little small street bullshit. This shit is bigger than that. We are a nation within a nation, and they designated our nation to be on the bottom. And in order for our nation to be on the bottom, they have to sabotage us. And I'm gonna leave it like that.
That's real talk. I got another one. White boy Rick from Detroit. You see his story versus all them other people, right? Tekashi 6ix9ine is just one of them.
And by the way, if those dudes that Tekashi 6ix9ine got locked up, if they had cold ice on that nigga, they all will be home today. None of them would have been in jail. But you know what they decided to do? They decided to give a white Hispanic a pass. A pass that they know damn well they wouldn't give to any other black person. Like I said before in the previous Twitter space, 9 Trey gangsters been here for 25 years untouched. No indictments, no prison time. They managed to stay under the radar for 25 years. Soon as Tekashi 6ix9ine arrived on the scene, less than 2 years later, indictments came. And now you got black men, over about 10 black men doing over 100 years in prison because of Tekashi 6ix9ine. Harv Pierre got 27 years. The godfather of 9 Trey gangsters, Mel Murder, got 13 years. The face that you guys know, Shotty, he got 10 years. This is real time black men are doing because of a white Hispanic. Why? Because they decided to give a white Hispanic a pass. So this is the results of giving white Hispanics pass. You want to give them a pass, it will backfire.
And you got to look at 6ix9ine. Look at him. He running around here just cosplaying us all day, cosplaying the black man. He running around here when like I don't know if y'all understand black culture. When you put gold teeth in your mouth, that's a status symbol. That's a trophy. Yeah, I got gold teeth. He put some rainbow color shit in his mouth. We run around here. We got dreads and the young niggas color them. His hair straight and stringy. He can't wear no dreads, so he'll grow some long braids and kind of color them like us. He run around here talking about, I'm a nigga. He's sagging his pants. He everything we do, he doing. And he get to play in our culture. You got to understand, why would they release him into society? If these people really gave a fuck about bettering society, they should have made an example out of him. That should have been an example. Because black America don't fuck with no 6ix9ine. Ain't nobody want to hear that shit. I can't even name a song that he did. I only know his Crash Dummy shit. That's it. Like, ain't nobody listening to that shit. If you play that shit where I'm from, if you play some shit like that coming out your speaker, we don't listen to no Fat Joe, none of that shit. If you play some shit like that, you're gonna get clown heavy. You gonna get clown. You gonna be a goofy. Nigga might jump on you. Nigga might jump on you for that. You can't come around here playing that shit. Why would they release him into society if this really about bettering society? He was the ringleader. He was the reason why that y'all knew who this guy is. I mean, who y'all knew, why they knew about these guys, because of him. They is playing a game. The rules is different for us. So anybody that's talking that I'm a street nigga shit and all that shit, trust me, I'm a real street nigga. I can tell you some shit. I don't even say this shit online. I'm talking about some shit that I'm talking about some real shit, some unbelievable shit. Like, that's documented that we can look up. I don't say that shit online because I can't get in trouble for it, but you can look it up and be like, man, this nigga here. Yeah, but it ain't really, I ain't trying to impress nobody. This shit Twitter. I'm just saying. Any street nigga talking about he ain't calling ICE, man, fuck that, man. Fuck you too, bitch. I might call, if it's an ICE for you, I'll call ICE on you too. You need to go with them. When they deport whoever we call ICE on, your ass go with them.
Famous, go ahead.
Okay, cool, man. Listen, man, I concur with everything I done heard so far. See, look, the best thing about this space is, this is what our ancestors, our leaders in the past, like the Black Panthers, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Huey P. Newton, and etc. They wanted everybody to be on code. They wanted everybody to understand what was actually happening, and it's actually happening right now as we speak. That's what's the beautiful thing. Now, we're talking about gangs and what they feel. Can't worry about no gang because it's non-productive. We got to think about the kids. We say the children is the future, and that's a fact. Can't nobody refute it. You see what I'm saying? So they non-productive for the kids. If anything, it bring more harm to the kids than anything. And so it's power in numbers. So you ball your fists up. You make an impact with a balled up fist, you could do some damage. But if your hand wide open, you could bitch smash somebody. But it's a little different when you get punched with a balled up fist. You can TKO somebody like that, So, yeah, we got a small fraction of our group, FBA, who who may be against what we talking about, don't want to call ICE. It's okay. That they could be left in the past because see, even if your pinky ain't all the way there, we can still make a powerful enough impact to get the job done without that little small little fraction of the percentage of the group. So if they want to stand to the side, they can stand to the side. And if they do stand to the side, unfortunately, once the job is over and we get what's due to us, we may look at them like the enemy. Because see, if you're gonna be on some street stuff, this is the paramount. This is paramount to whatever they talking about. It's paramount to Bloods, Crips, because see, this dealing with your children. This dealing with your mama, your daddy, your lineage, your future. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't love that, you can't. You know what I'm saying? I don't got no respect for you, and you don't belong in the streets. You don't belong a part of nobody group because you gotta love yourself first. You gotta love yourself first. You know what I'm saying? If y'all gonna be out there reckless like that, who just doing what y'all doing, nobody don't need you. You ain't good for nobody, no society. You're gonna self-destruct, and that's what I had to say. All right, peace.
And by the way, we're seeing black men in real time take gang banging and gang culture and throwing it inside the garbage. We're seeing it in real time. That is a beautiful thing to see. Where it's not only me, it's not only you that agrees that gangs has nothing to do, that has no benefit to our community, and we're seeing in real time real street dudes, real dudes who've been through real things saying, you know what, this gang thing, we throwing it in the garbage because it means nothing to us. It didn't bring us nothing productive. And we're talking about men in their 30s, men in their 40s. And then you got that dude Whack 100 all across California talking about on Paru. Dude, you're almost 50. You're almost a senior citizen. When are you going to stop gangbanging, bro? Go ahead, yikes.
I really don't want to focus too much on, like you said, it's really not productive as a group to focus on the rappers and all of that stuff. That's really negative. It's not positive to focus on somebody like 6ix9ine. But I want to speak to the music industry itself and how it's changing. Because of 6ix9ine, for one specific person, the face and voice that legitimized 6ix9ine and was actually seen as what would be considered just basically a media kind of drop off for somebody who was just working in the shadow realm and not really getting anything done other than his own interest and just being overall very divisive. And that's DJ Academics. And I don't have I don't want to get too deep into it because I want to stick to the actual topic of conversation. But DJ Academics was legitimized and brought up essentially to the heights of the media now because of his relationship with 6ix9ine. When the entire profile was going on, he kind of slithered in there and monopolized any media work that was being done with 6ix9ine. And slapped him right in the face of all black people who listened to his network and thought of it as legitimate before that because he covered the war in Chirac. But people, I feel like the younger generation took that actual podcast and the war in Chirac as it got mixed reviews and mixed reception. But I just wanted to show how the media only brought him to that forefront. He was on the show with Joe Budden, the Everyday Struggle and all of that. He did a lot before that, but it was only when he got associated with 6ix9ine that the two would, that he basically put it in the face of black people. His raps, which were, of course, they are what they are, not that great. And that's basically how he got to the front. He combed himself right to the front of the media forefront, and now he's the number one listened to radio station on Spotify because people see him as legitimate. When who was he backing? Somebody who is obviously a bad influence. And even for me, I think of it in a music aspect as well. And I think it's just very negative. So I just wanted to add on to what Vovo has said about that. So, yeah.
That's a good point, sister. I'm glad you brought him up. I got to get Academic. Academic is another immigrant. And you see DJ Vlad is from Russia. Okay, you see these people are all from immigrant backgrounds and have taken over the media aspect. You can take Tekashi 6ix9ine, he's an immigrant. So Simona was talking about Busta Rhymes earlier, Fat Joe. These people never have any type of things that are for our welfare or to uplift foundational Black American culture. They always do seem to steal it, misdirect it, or just put some of their decay and their toxicity in it. It's never anything positive. Academic is cancerous to any form of foundational Black American culture, whether that's hip hop, whether that's the media, it doesn't matter. That guy is an ultimate troll, and all he does is, as Rich says, cause confusion, and he's there to play people against each other. Anytime there's a beef or conflict with somebody, he's the one in the middle egging it on. And he's even been quoted, I think he quoted it on DJ Vlad. So you have an immigrant on another immigrant show talking about how foundational Black Americans don't work hard. I heard him say that. He's on record saying that. But if you look, as we were talking about earlier, as Rich said, Eric Adams is Jamaican. Ketanji Jackson, Brown Jackson, as I say, she's from Jamaican descent. They were trying to hide that. A lot of people know. And in spaces like this, and it's us FBA calling out these immigrants is why they're trying to hide it. Barack Obama, Kamala Harris. We look in the acting world. They bring in people from the UK and all over the place to play our heroes. So you see in every aspect of society, they're trying to replace foundational Black Americans with immigrants and people from the outside or foreigners to play us or to depict us. And it's always done orchestrated. It's on purpose. It's not an accident or coincidence. You can't have this happen so many times and it's just something that just happened by happenstance. No, no, no. You're talking about movies. You're talking about politicians. You're talking about media. You're talking about music all across the board. You can easily go get a foundational Black American sister to play Harriet Tubman. You can easily go get a foundational Black American brother to play Fred Hampton. You can easily go get a foundational Black American media person. I know some people right now that are foundational Black American on both sides that can do anything in the media way better than academics. I know some foundational Black American musicians. They are way better than the Nicki Minaj's of the world or the Tekashi 6ix9ines of the world. So foundational Black American, we had, matter of fact, let me rewind. We had Marcel Dixon in here earlier. You have foundational Black American candidates. You have foundational Black American intelligent folk that can run for office. So you don't have to have the Barack Obamas of the world, who's an immigrant from an immigrant background. We don't have to have the Kamala Harris's immigrant from immigrant background. And that one lady, if anybody remembers her name, the lady in Virginia, she just won, the one who said we need to get over slavery. That's another. What's her name?
Winsome Sears.
Her right there. Same thing. Once again, coming with an anti-foundational Black American sentiment, and they're only here to replace us and to bury us under them. So that's a good point. And I stand by all foundational Black Americans because we don't want to blink and then we look and all of a sudden every aspect of society we're being false represented. And if you really want to look at some of these Black immigrants, all they do is have camouflage. Their Blackness is not anything to, promote unity or commonality towards us. Their Blackness is really so they can imposter us and perpetrate us. So they can say, well, I'm Black too, brother. And the next thing you know, they're Black, but with a white mind. Kid Gravity, floor is yours.
The only time you, Akata, should be calling ICE is for your Hennessy.
Hey, what'd you call it? What'd you say?
It was a joke.
You said what?
Nah, he sound just like an African. He's not.
Bro, I thought he was African.
Nah, no, man, it was a joke.
Nah. Oh, she must be new. She know kid. We know kid. Gravity ain't on that.
But hey, y'all subscribe to Kid Gravity's YouTube channel too, because that man funny as hell. Make sure y'all subscribe to
Africans every 4 days. But is ICE patriotic? Y'all calling them? Well, you talking to someone who's not FBA, but y'all got to do what y'all got to do. I love that Clover Hill bakery story. That shit is. I read that like every 3 days because I still can't believe that actually worked. And down in Mississippi at Koch Foods, when they called ICE and got 680 of them out of there, and then all the Black people went up in there and got them jobs. I love that shit. So if we're gonna make the numbers even again, y'all got to do what y'all got to do. At this point, you got to use every avenue to get us back to the middle. So I stand with y'all on that. Just be careful, because white supremacists will try to backfire it on us.
Hey, Black Alpha.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up the point that academics is also somebody who immigrated to America and is one of the only Black men, first of all, that isn't Joe Budden, who's out here just doing whatever that he can do, or acting like Charlemagne, who's out here just cooning around and jumping around for whatever network is going to give him a little penny. I like to thank you for making that clear, that he is an immigrant and he has a platform that he basically built from the ground up with a bunch of people who are black and a bunch of white kids. Is people who are black, who are not really black foundational Americans, and white kids. That's the only people who really follow him, and that's why they bolstered 6ix9ine and put him in the forefront of the music industry. It's sick.
And this is why we have to pay attention to everything that's going on, whether it's on a street level, hip hop level, political level. Everything is important. Nothing is too good to pay attention to, because hip hop needs a hip hop needs exactly. Hip hop needs an overhaul. Hip hop needs a cleanser. You know, when you take a cleanser and it cleans out your body, hip hop needs the same thing, because the problem in hip hop is you have all of these CEOs, you got Diddy, you got Jay-Z, you got all these big time dudes, but they don't control or regulate hip hop. They let anybody come in and do anything. Think about it. 6ix9ine is no threat. 6ix9ine is no threat. Every time 6ix9ine was in a situation, he ran. He's not a threat. Why is it that nobody in hip hop could check 6ix9ine? Why is it that nobody in hip hop could check DJ Academics? DJ Academics is a small fry. He knows he's a small fry. Every time he's in a situation, it's with a woman. He's a small fry. But the problem we have is there's nobody in hip hop checking these people. They let them come in. Jay-Z, he let DJ Khaled come right in. DJ Khaled has no talent. All he does is scream on a track.
Hey, you know he's Palestinian too, brother.
Exactly. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And he's not from Miami neither.
Yeah.
He's an immigrant. He tried to act like he's Puerto Rican from New York or something. He's a Palestinian, and he's not from Miami. That man is, first off, from Palestine, but then I think he's from like Louisiana somewhere. He's not from Miami at all. He's faking the fraud.
And don't ever think. See, this is the thing. Black people, not us, B1 know what it is, but the average black person think everything in society is a coincidence when it comes to white supremacy. Nothing is a coincidence when it comes to white supremacy, okay? Everything is by design. Angela Yee is half black and half Chinese. That is not just, it's not a coincidence. Remember, every time you hear Angela Yee speak, does she ever say anything intelligent?
No, hey, she gets real quiet too. Anytime they talk about a black issue, I've seen times where they talk about black issues and she's not even on the show that day. She take a sick day.
Every time, every question she have is a silly question. Oh, well, you were in the news the other day because they seen you cheating on this girl. Is it true that you like to cheat? Like, shut the fuck up. Do you have a intelligent?
What about what she did with Mano?
Exactly. So she never have an intelligent question. And the point I'm trying to make is this is done on purpose. They're not gonna put a whole black person on there and start asking intelligent questions. That's not happening. You might get a Charlemagne the God. He's half and half. He's like a milk. He's like a half and half milk. One side of him, he's pro-black. The other side, he's LGBT, and he's for the Democrats. He can't be trusted. They're not gonna put somebody that's on there that's gonna speak truth to power. Hell no. They gotta rig the system up. You got Ebro. Ebro is half white, half Jewish. Peter Rosenberg, that nerdy ass white boy. I can't stand that nigga. What is he doing talking about hip hop? The only people that should be talking about hip hop is people who live what hip hop talks about. Peter Rosenberg, you haven't been through nothing. You never been through racism. You never been through nothing. So how could you relate to what's coming out of our mouths when it comes to rap music? You got that other dude, LA Leakers, a bunch of white dudes over here in control of the freestyles going on in LA Leakers. I don't want to hear what the fuck a white dude got to say about hip hop. Y'all niggas said y'all didn't like hip hop when it first came out. I don't want to hear no white boy talk about hip hop. You got that other Chinese woman from Hot 97, Miss Info. Right now, she got a podcast with Nas. I don't want to hear no Chinese women talk about no hip hop. What you gonna tell me about hip hop? I live hip hop. I am hip hop. So
You know
this
what's funny too, Rich? Money Love can't even get a job now.
exactly, and that really grinds my gears. The fact that they're giving these non-FBA people, these non-black people, these jobs, like black people don't need jobs. Like Angela, like there's not a black woman out there that could fill Angela Yee's spot. Like we don't have black people out here that could take these jobs, that need these jobs at these radio stations. I don't want to hear no goddamn Peter Rosenberg. Who the fuck is you, nigga? You a white boy, dude. You're a Jew. I don't want to hear about no Peter Rosenberg. Joe Budden, you another one. You put Rory on the map. Who the hell is Rory? This nigga look like an orange tango.
Very much agreed on that as well. Rory didn't bring anything important to a conversation, and then hilariously embarrassed Joe Budden completely when he came out and said that he wanted a piece of what Joe Budden had created, essentially. And Joe Budden basically had to sit on his hands so he didn't further embarrass himself because he didn't have a smart answer for this cracker coming up there. I hate to be like that, but seriously, and trying to take something that he didn't build. Who initially started off as a guest and became a co-host, but built nothing with you, made no negotiations, no deals, and he's sitting up here going back and forth with his contract, and then you got all of these other people, you know what I'm saying, coming in and saying stuff about your contract, whether it's Spotify or even Everyday Struggle, which he was arguing with at the same damn time. So I didn't feel too bad for him because I'm like, you got what was coming to you. You reap what you sow. Turn your back on the black people and sit here and try to parlay with this white man who doesn't care about you at all and is just exploiting you for your own stuff, just for him to come back and try to steal it right from under your nose.
And do you know how disrespectful that is to give a white person a job in hip hop when there's a bunch of black people out here that can use that job? Joe Budden, I'm talking to you. Who is Rory? Who wants to hear from Rory?
Where is Ransom?
Exactly. Who wants to hear from Rory? Who wants to hear from a white boy about hip hop? Nigga, I don't want to hear about hip hop. Nigga, go get a job. Go practice white supremacy. That's what you good for. Go enjoy your white privilege, nigga. Don't come over here trying to act like me. DJ Drewski in New York, playing hip hop music on Hot 97. I'm not interested in any white person talking to me about hip hop. There's enough.
But you know, not Hot 97 dead. Shot 97 dead. You know that.
I know, but it bothers my soul to see black people give white folks opportunities before they give black folks opportunities. It bothers my soul. That
Brother Ricky Kid, what's the name of that guy who's got the show with Charlemagne? The guy who debated Tariq.
Oh boy. Oh, you want to go there? Okay.
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
Y'all know what I'm talking about.
You talking about the white boy?
Yeah. Yeah. His face is right there.
Richard Spencer.
No, not him. The suspected white supremacist that has a show with Charlemagne the God.
Charlemagne escorted him.
Something.
Tariq Nasheed debated him before.
Is it like Russell something?
It's something with.
I'm about to Google it. Y'all go handle that. I'm about to check that out. I'm about to find that.
Yeah, but he another one though.
Yeah, he's another one. It's Schultz something. I think it's Schultz.
Oh, Andrew Schultz.
Andrew Schultz.
Yes,
that's
Andrew
it.
Schultz. Yes. A suspected white supremacist. This fool, Charlemagne the God, has him as a co-host. Since we going there, I'm gonna go there. In black society, can you name for me where white people invite black people when white people are making millions of dollars? Where does that go down? Where white people randomly invite black people when there's billions of dollars being moved? Can you name for me a place where that happens? But you got black people, when millions of dollars are being made, they're inviting white people to the table. I never see white people invite black people to the table when millions of dollars are being broken down into pieces. I never see that. But every single time, All you see is black people inviting white people to the stage when they're breaking bread, when they're breaking millions of dollars. Jay-Z is inviting DJ Khaled. Nas is inviting Miss Info. Angela Yee is being invited by DJ Envy. But every time even in our neighborhoods, when there's real estate developments going on, do you see black people over there? In construction, there's a whole bunch of racism going on in construction where white people are getting the job before they get black people, and they do the same thing. But you got these Negroes coming over here giving white people opportunities, and when white people making all the money, we never see them. There's no black coaches and black owners in the NFL. They never break bread with us. But every time we're breaking bread, we break bread with them. Go ahead, Black Alpha.
Oh, no, hey, good point. The guy who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, who's the same guy who owned that black news network that went under, that guy was an Arabic guy. It's the same exact thing. It's all across society. It's either the dominant society or an immigrant that represents the dominant society, and they are always swiping foundational black Americans from anything. Bobo, go ahead, speak, brother. Hey, come on, pull up.
Yeah. Can you hear me? My phone fucking up. Yeah,
we got you.
I want to say, yeah. See, like now you got to understand that our culture is so magnetic. Everybody's drawn to it. So now, what we watching right now? This is my opinion. We watching the pivot of our culture. We watching the pivot. They getting involved in rap and all that. That's fake shit. That's something that's new. That's something that's totally new. They ain't. Rap started off as a way of black Americans to express themselves, to express their struggle. They done turned this shit into some goofy shit. That's something whole new. That's just popular culture now. That's something whole new. At the core, the real rap, when them trap music niggas be talking about shooting and all that type of shit, it's stupid as fuck. It's stupid, but that's at the core. That's what's really going on. That them other goofies, they don't really feel what we go through. They are not us. They not with us. They are not really with us. So I say that to say this, right? The white people, they know everything. They fucking nosy, right? And they giving all these people opportunities in our culture and all that type of shit. We should be running our own culture. But the fact that they elevating all these people, and it's always they elevating these people, and they always kick us to the ground. That's been our struggle ever since we've been around these people. They nosy. They understand something about not just our race, not just being black. They understand something about our bloodline specifically. They understand something about FBA, freedmen, whatever. They understand something about our bloodline. They understand something like this is a special people. This is a special people. Because look at this, right? Let's just say, right, let's call America a house, right? And I'm building my dream house, right? And I'm building my dream house. I got my money, and I'm building this dream house. And I done called in my good plumbers, and I done called in my good drywall niggas, and I done called in my good sidewalk pavers, driveway pavers, and I got my garage guys in, and I got my electricians, and I'm building this big house, and I'm gonna name it America. I would never deny my plumbers what they need, because then my plumbing ain't gonna work right. I'm never gonna deny my electricians what they need. I'm not gonna kick my electricians to the ground and again deny them the tools they need to work. Because then my lights ain't going to work right in my beautiful house if I'm building this beautiful America. So why would I knock down my most talented people? Constantly, though. This ain't like this 2022. This ain't nothing new. This is our story that we've been constantly knocked down. So I ask y'all, why would they do that? My conclusion is they know something specifically about our bloodline. They know something. And I'm going to leave it right there.
They want the good with the bad, man. They want everything that we can provide, but they know if we get too much, then we're going to match them and surpass them. I mean, we beat them in areas where we're less represented. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of what we're talking about. You going over to Africa, like we said, there's 7 billion people in Africa right now getting dominated by 2% of the population. While right here, we don't even represent about 13% of the population. We're the third populace in this country, and we surpass them in a lot of areas. So that's why they got to, like we say, they got to have their own avenues to try to bring us down. That's to your point too, brother. They got to find, their own ways of bringing us down, and they like to recruit people. And that's one of the main topics and the main points that we talked about through this whole space. And people who've been here from the beginning, you've seen that they always try to bring in new people to bury foundational Black Americans under. Just enough to where we can contribute.
But why though?
Not doing anything. You said why?
Yeah, why? Like they understand something. They understand something about, because that don't make no sense.
I'm gonna answer that question because that's an excellent point that Black Alpha made. Because the thing is, the white supremacists, they can't occupy all spaces. They can't be everywhere at the same time. So they think like CEOs. We're going to hire these group of people. They're going to take care of this. We're going to hire these group of people. They're going to take care of this. And when I mean these group of people, I'm talking about white Hispanics. I'm talking about Black immigrants. I'm talking about the Jamaicans. That's what I'm talking about. They're going to hire you to play a certain position. You cover this front right here. You cover this, because remember, they're the real minorities. They can't be everywhere. Think about Africa. They're only 10% of the population in Africa, but they dominate the entire Africa because they know they can't be everywhere at the same time. See, the thing about white supremacy is, and white folks is, they understand they can't be arguing for too long. It's not like us. See, with us, we could argue for a long time because we got a lot of time on this earth. It's a bunch of us. We're not the minorities here. With them, they know they can't be arguing for that long. So they have to cooperate with each other. The minute they stop cooperating with each other, their numbers going to start dwindling. Their numbers are already dwindling. So imagine if they start arguing.
No, but let me say this though, right? It ain't just about Black though. Cause they'll elevate a Black immigrant over us. What's the big deal about us specifically? It's always about us. If you notice that, we are the most talented people on the planet. Everybody are naturally drawn to us. They naturally want to mimic us. We got Chinese people calling themselves niggas. I don't know if y'all realize how ridiculous and absurd that is. The white man calling himself, and the almighty white man want to be a nigga like us.
Well,
we got people from all over the world, the Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans, they want to be like us.
Well,
hold on. Let me say this, right? Like I said, if you building this big, beautiful country, right, and you got these uber talented people, why would you go out your way to knock them over? It's something they understand about our bloodline. It's something that because they know everything. It's a reason why they stripped our bloodline, our heritage from us. It's something they understand specifically about this group of people.
To answer your question, and Benna, please mute your mic and raise your hand if you want to speak. To answer your question, slavery. They seen what happened during slavery. You took a bunch of slaves and you did the most atrocious shit to them, and yet they still came out great. They still came out and did wonderful things. So they're like, damn, we did all this to these Negroes and they still came out all right. So that's what they see. It's through slavery they seen how powerful foundational Black Americans was. That's where they seen the true essence of what being resilient is. They seen it through there, right there, through that lens.
What they say, against all odds, man. We're against all odds. All the answers lie in that mirror, man. They like I said, they just want to keep us around. If you look, our relationship has never really changed. It's always been a slave labor relationship. You know what I'm saying? Well, we take money to them and, we help build this country. We do everything. We do all the hard lifting, but we get nothing in return. And that's to your point, Bobo. What I think was the Dr. Kaba. He said it best. He said, somebody knows something about us that they don't want us to know about us. So it's the same thing, but all the answers there is just people got to see it. I want to get some new hands in real quick. Gail and then Bina. Go ahead, Gail.
I think Gail she's on an absent leave. But another example of this is Haitians. Back in 1804 when they defeated.
Here I am.
Okay, go ahead, Gail.
Sorry, I'm old at this. I'm an old pro.
We know, sister. Go ahead.
I'm 68 years old, but I'm gonna ask a question. And I love listening to you guys. But why is it? Who started sharing the craft with them, with these people? Why do you share your craft, and then they take it and make all the money off of it? You're sharing your craft, and I can remember maybe back in the 50s, the 40s, the 60s, where the white people in the music industry, they stole everything from the black singers, from the different entertainers, and it's still happening. So why is it? Who allowed them to? Why are you sharing? Like I said, why are you sharing the craft? I was thinking of one more thing before I leave. Something that John Hendrick Clark made a comment about that I read in his book is that, we are some of the most welcoming people on the planet. We welcome everybody. But our weakness, that's our strength, welcoming people. But our weakness is not knowing their intentions. And that's all I have to say. I'm just curious as to how is it that, we share everything with them.
To answer your question, see, the thing is, when you don't understand that you're in a system of white supremacy, you don't look at anybody as your enemy. And when you don't look at anybody as your enemy, you share. All these hip hop dudes, they don't believe they're in a system of white supremacy because they got money. So they're not gonna bogart. They're not gonna make sure whoever's in line to come inside of hip hop, that their paperwork is good. They're not gonna do that because they don't even believe they're in a system of white supremacy. Once you know you're in a system of white supremacy, you start moving accordingly. Now you start checking paperwork. Okay, who you? Okay, DJ Academics, where you come from? What's your point? What's your point of being here? What's your agenda? But none of them over there are doing that. And this is why we got to start getting next to them and checking their paperwork and forming a line and pushing that line.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Oh, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, but I was just thinking also when you said that, I was thinking about, because they have the money that they don't see it. I mean, but seems like some of them should be getting that wake-up call. I mean, look what happened to with the slap and some of the other things that have been going on. They'll just try to take everything away from you if they can.
But the thing is, we're speaking about certified white ass kissers here. No matter how much times,
right? The slap was an isolated incident. I feel like, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, they turn around and now they want to take everything away from him. He was accepted, because I guess he thought he was one of the boys, and now because of what he did, now they want to take everything away from him.
The thing is, these people don't care about how much times white mommy and white daddy give them a spanking. They're still gonna be there begging for a job, begging for opportunity. Yeah. They have no shame. We have shame. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. As soon as somebody tell us to move out the way, or you're not gonna give me this, okay, I'm out. I'm not gonna be over here begging you. But them over there, they're gonna beg. They're gonna scrape. Look at Kevin Hart.
Right.
That dude went on an ass kissing tour.
Yeah, and that's why Will Smith was also willing to get raked across the coals in the public humiliation ritual that white supremacists love to use. He doesn't care. For him, and like a lot of black people who make it to Hollywood, you see who he's with. So his bottom line is that check. Regardless, whether it comes from Zaddy or Becky or whoever's giving it to him, he's going to have his hand out for it as long as he keeps, doing the Sambo up there or whatever they ask him to.
What white people, what they care about, what we care about, they don't care about. The perfect example of this is Rihanna. Rihanna owns only 30% of Fenty. 30%. Now think about this. She's worth $1.7 billion. Imagine if she owned 70% of Fenty, how much she would be worth today. We care about ownership. They don't. They just care about being brand ambassadors. They don't even care about ownership. They don't even care about making the most. They just care about being brand ambassadors. As long as white mommy and white daddy gives me an opportunity, I'm cool. What if Rihanna said, you know what? I'm going to start my own clothing line. I'm going to do it on my own, all 100% in-house. That $1.7 billion, she would be worth about $6 billion today, around that number, if she owned 100% of Fenty. But right now, she only owns 30%. That makes her a brand ambassador. She ain't even a goddamn owner. The owners of it own 70% of it. Think about that.
Hey, that's the crazy part about it, bro. She's the damn draw. She's in the position that has the collateral to do that. So anybody who's not doing that is only doing it for their own purpose. And I like how you said it, brother. When these people love supremacy, it does not matter what supremacy does to them. Supremacy can roll them out. We in the community, we use the term wake-up call. Yeah, but no. Some people have a wake-up call, and some people still get attacked and just don't care. They don't look. O.J. Simpson. They ran O.J. through the mud, and he doesn't give a damn about that. He don't give a damn. O.J. was blaming black people for it. You know what I'm saying? So some of these people get a wake-up call, but a wake-up call only goes as far as how in tune you are. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these black folks, they love it. And as far as to answer your question as well, to add on to what Brother Rich said, Gail, I always say it's called the Negro escort. And if you always remember, the Negro escort is someone who always escorts the dominant society into the community, whether that's at the damn barbecue. I mean, black folks always say the barbecue. You're invited to the barbecue. You get a cookout. If a black person, you know what I'm talking about? Somebody waves at them. They say, come on in. I've seen seething supremacists say just one thing that black folks think is nice, and they say, come on, you can go get a plate. It's like they just want to give it. So the Negro escort is always out here, and they hold them by the hand, and they walk them right in. We were just talking about Jay-Z and DJ Khaled. We were talking about Charlemagne and Andrew Schultz. Everywhere you go, Nas and the other lady, no matter where you go, you're always going to see black folks that will hold the hand of a, I would say an immigrant, or they would hold the hand of someone from the dominant society, an outsider. They'll always hold their hand and walk them right into the community and then place them in the middle. And then the Negro escort is always followed by what I call the Negro bodyguard. So not only do they escort these people in the middle and the center of our community, but once they get them there, they provide protection. And that protection is to go after other black people. There were black folks back in the day saying, hey, they trying to steal our rock and roll. Chuck Berry, Little Richard, all of them. There were black people saying, oh, wait a minute now. They don't need to come in here and steal our stuff. And there was other black people, the ones who escorted them in, that provided the protection to stop it. That's why we're circling our wagons right now. And that's why they're really upset. Yeah, because we're not going for that. We were identifying who's the escort. We're identifying who's the bodyguard. We're identifying who's the blockade to stop us from doing this. This is why we're talking about some of these minions of supremacy and ICE and these immigrants. We're calling these people out. Back in the day, these people will come in and just have a free pass to steal from us. I mean, they walk right in the house, reach over you and steal your chips, reach off your plate, grab your drink, and walk out the house. Now we saying, whoa, slow up, and we checking people at the door. So this is why you got to do it. You got to stop those type of people who bring others in.
Well, thank you so much, guys. I'm learning a lot just listening to you.
Peace and love. Peace and love. By the way, everybody in here right now, if you're here right now, make sure you subscribe to Black Alpha Network on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to Brother Afro Elite. Make sure you subscribe to Brother Kid Gravity. That's Black Alpha Network on YouTube. That's Afro Elite on YouTube and Kid Gravity on YouTube as well. Bina, go ahead.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi, family. I wanted to respond to what Vovo was saying, or one of the guys, or somebody was saying that there's something about us that we don't know that they know. And I recently did my DNA, but we have a family tree, but I never looked at it. Okay, one of our lines is Bennett. We are descendants from Bennett. I traced the line Bennett is basically to the Chawanoki Indians, who they annihilated when they got on this land. So a lot of Black people are descendants of Chawanoki Indians. Look it up, Chowan, Chowan Indian tribes. Not only is it Bennett last name, it's also, I just looked at it. It's Bennett and the Robbins, and also John Freeman were Indians. That, and this land goes back to 1500s, and there are deeds to land that are still on books to this day, but we don't know who we are I don't know if we could even claim it. I don't know what something is going on because, like you said, there is it seems like the men are carrying this specific genes to the Indian tribes all the way back to 1500. And I wonder, is that a reason why men are targeted in these police killings? So can you speak to that?
Yeah, I'll take that one. I think it's a multitude of things. I think it's what you said as well. But, to the average supremacist, man, they're not thinking that deep. You know what I'm saying? They're just following suit for going after us. That may be, the roots or amongst other things, that may be the roots of some of the issues that they, encounter with us. But the reason why our men are being targeted because they're the warriors. And in any military action or any military intelligence, the warriors, the men have to be targeted first. But our sisters are being targeted as well. Because supremacy, I always say this, in the system of supremacy, there's no such thing as a child. All children are classified as adults. All women are classified as men, and all men are targets. So AKA, if you connect all the dots, everybody's got a bullseye on them. You know what I'm saying? So when sometimes black folks, we start breaking it down in terms of categories, that's true to us, and we may understand that. For your average everyday Billy Bob or Jethro, they don't think that deep. First thing they're thinking of is that foundational black Americans are strong, are powerful people, and if we could separate the men and get the men about the household, whether that means through policy and political means, or that can mean through military action, that's the main reason why they want to get us removed. But I would say there may be some credence to what you say, but remember, when they come after us, they're not thinking about anything like that. They're thinking about, I got to get this black person up out of here, because that's their seething hatred they have from us. You can respond if you want to.
I would like to respond to that, because I think that is a criteria to why we're being attacked and annihilated. These Indians were annihilated. What they did was they took all their land and basically sent, my great grandmother was sent to Louisiana, basically, who is the mother of my grandmother. They mixed them up with the black people, so the blood still lives. And I also want to mention, I have a younger brother, Mario Benjamin, who was killed in Minneapolis by the police right before George Floyd. And we're not getting any justice out of this. And it's a lot of men that they've been killing even before George Floyd in these states. So it is a connection with the men and the bloodline also. And you guys carry that specific gene, and you can look it up. It's a gene of the Chowan tribe that black men carry if you're in the Indian descendant. And that's what I like to say. Thank you.
Appreciate it, sister.
I wanted to say just real fast. When I was saying that, I wasn't talking about the average white guy you work with or the average white the white police officer or no shit like that. They just wicked people. I don't root them all. I root all white people up. I think all white people are just devils. That's just my own personal opinion. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about, it's something that the higher ups understand. Cause all of these programs and all of these like J. Edgar Hoover, the crack epidemic, slavery, redlining, law, is something that they understand, that the government understands. The government, the ones that's controlling the world, the people that's controlling this planet that we live on, it's something that they understand about our bloodline specifically. It's something that they understand. Not just the average white guy who give you a dirty look or who calls you a nigger or the police officer that pull up. They just the flunkies for them.
Well, what do you think they understand? Be specific, and then why don't you?
I mean, like, if you all right, they might understand that we the chosen people of God. That's what I believe. If you boil it all the way down, that's the best idea I can come up with.
That, but our bloodline may exist here in this land.
I don't know where it is from. I haven't looked into it as deep as you, ma'am. I ain't want to turn this into a religious thing or nothing like that. I haven't looked into it like that.
You know what I'm saying? But it's something special that they know that they got to keep us under them.
It's the answer to the question. It's always the answer. We just got to seek and
No, I'm
find.
not saying that I got the answer though. That ain't. That's why I
No,
didn't.
I say we got to seek and find. We don't know because it's hidden from us.
All right, yes, indeed. Hey, we'll bring a brother Free. You look like you got something to say. Or brother Fear this. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, what's going on, family? Yeah, I'm gonna kind of answer like some of the answer already. And don't get this like I'm religious. You know, I think a lot of us been raised in whatever school of thought, religion, all that stuff. But look, we have a God stock gene. It ain't got nothing to do with all people that look like us with melanin and all that mess. It's really we got that stock of gene in us that's a godly gene where we've shared so much, and now it's coming to the forefront that we ain't going for that no more because it's not doing us any good. Now, one of the precursors comes in when you look at how or what has happened in California with the California Reparations Task Force, with how they debated, and then they got it to be where it is a lineage base dealing with what is owed to us in this country, not no racial thing, because racial gets into convolution. I mean, it gets convoluted with just the term black and then everything else that comes with it. So it's coming to this point where it's becoming more specific, more discreet. So, and see, with all what I've heard on this right here, which is good, this is a good space where it's coming to it where you're going to have to start delineating yourself from these people, from people that look like us, and start getting into the confinement of what's here in the USA and what's owed to us. So, and then, like I say, when you're looking at AB 3121, then you look at, crossing over to looking at what happened to Nick Cannon. They're looking at what happened to Will. They're looking at what's going on with Jay-Z or whatever. I mean, it's showing itself how people have been succumbing to the stupidity of white supremacy, or just being in denial that we have a creativity about us, and not seeing that we need to just group up and start getting to our own. But if you keep denying that, you're gonna be like a Charlemagne the God. You're gonna be like it's a lot of names we can call out. Look at Jamie Foxx. When I'm not talking down, I'm saying for this right here, when he did a movie with Shango. Another brother, y'all probably know him already, Naheem, Be the Power. He had spoke about how that part was going to be done by Idris Elba, but Jamie Foxx pretty much made himself known to the producer, said, "Yo, I'm of that lineage of the people in this country. I can play that part more better than somebody that's coming from around the way." You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to start now to really get yourself in a secluded way or form that, look, I'm above a lot of people. I'm above a lot of people that look like me. Black immigrants, all that stuff, man. We got to start really making yourself known of your creativity and what you've done in this country other than any other people. You didn't flee nobody. I mean, you didn't flee no country. You didn't flee USA. You stayed here and dealt with the bullshit, dealt with everything that's coming at us, even right now. So really, it's already ordained for us to be lock, stock, and barrel when it comes to what is old, who we are, our lineage. It's a God stock. Man trying to kill God, if you want to just say a lack of a better word. They just want to kill this God gene of us and move on to something that's more of their alphabetical order bullshit. Because alphabetical order, that gets into unnaturalism. It's not natural. And I say that because of Greeks, Romans, Alpha, Beta, all that stuff that's dealt with what they did maybe a few thousand years ago, whatever, but it was just it was not in order. And we got to get away from that stuff and just get back to naturalism, the nuclear family, man, woman, child, stuff like that. We got to get back to all that, because that's what's going to get us where on our sublime note of being, in a high esteem, y'all. I mean, it's more to say about that. But we just gotta just be on that and just stay with that, because that's our only survival kit. I don't know what any other way to say it. And we got that guy, Jim. You got Tucker Carlson saying stuff like, black babies are able to. They got something going on with their substantia negra, their black substance, their in the brain, the pineal gland, stuff like that. I mean, he says it. I could probably put it in the jumbotron, but it's just like, if white people are saying this, and I ain't saying they white, I'm saying they white as in WIGHT white, because they ain't white. But if they saying it, why is it that we're still lagging behind to figure this thing out about what's going on in our brain? What's going on in those scientific terms that they talking about? What's inside of us that really has us being really superb or supreme over other people? And that's real talk about how we develop quicker and faster and stronger and smarter than they do. That's over everybody. So hats off to everybody, y'all. Keep it moving. Stay focused on these politics, man. Because look, even Cam Howard. Look at Cam Howard now. He's resigning because he's doing some craziness with his, I think he's narco in Cobra, one of them. But, that was pretty much trying to put people in this black global reparations thing, which it doesn't make sense. It's not nowhere near of sense to say globally to give reparations to black people. That don't make sense. Really doesn't. It's a specific thing in the USA, and he just basically just tore himself out where whatever things he was doing is basically got him resigned because of misallocation of money or dealing with some women and stuff like that. But see, he sold himself out. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot to talk about that. But yeah, just keep up with everything, y'all. Politics is going to dictate the culture. Remember that. If we ain't got no politics in order, if we want to have politics in order, we don't have our culture in order. We can't have our little children to do skating, or can't do the block parties, or can't, just do the things that we do. So we got to get politics in order. I ain't saying nothing about no voting Democrat or Republican. I'm just saying vet every damn thing. Vet everybody and all what they doing. Because really, like I said, you look at the history of
all right, brother. Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
We got to wrap it up. Okay. And just to touch on that a little bit, that is a true statement that we have to start being more ambitious, because opportunities are out there, and if you don't grab those opportunities, there's other people, there's other communities that are plotting on the opportunities we're not taking. So this is why you get a DJ Academics, because none of us was sitting there like, you know what? Let me create an opportunity from what's going on in Iraq. Not Iraq, but Chicago. Let me create an opportunity out of that. So we have to start realizing how lucrative hip hop is and how lucrative we are from all the things that we create. So we can start creating opportunities not only for each other, but for everyone, for us. Because
but let me say this too, bro. Most black people, right? I don't want to say all, but most black people that's black Americans, we ain't trying to capitalize off what's going on in Chicago. Like he was in there with no shame, trying to capitalize off that. Like
but the thing is, he didn't have to do it on a negative point of view. He could have just been a journalist. Like, yo, listen, this is what happened today in Chicago. But it
wouldn't have worked though. It wouldn't have worked though. It wouldn't have worked.
Whether it would have worked or not. My point is, we need to start taking the opportunities we need to start creating opportunities around hip hop and the things that we create, because we're just sitting there like, okay, we don't like this. Okay. So you got to start grabbing the opportunities. You got to start creating things. So that way there is no, and this is what I like, just to mention this is what I like about the 85 South show, because they use their creativity to create something out of nothing. Nobody was doing improv state to state. They created that out of thin air. And that came from Black American culture. They created something. They said, you know what? We're talented. Let's take our talents across the United States. Let's start interviewing people right here from Atlanta and create a podcast. This is the type of creativity I'm talking about. This is the type of things we need to start doing. Create opportunities around the things that we already created. It's already here. Hip hop was already here. R&B is already here. All you got to do is just keep creating, keep making out of opportunities out of thin air. Like we got Gilly and Wallow and Drink Champs and Joe Budden podcast. That's good because now they're taking a piece of hip hop and they're creating something out of it, instead of letting these white folks and these Arabs and all these other people come in and just bogart shit and create things when they see opportunity. We see the opportunity, but sometimes we just don't believe that we're deserving of it.
But you say that we need to start doing it. We is doing it, like you just said. Gilly and all them already doing it.
We're not doing it enough, because if we was doing it enough, Peter Rosenberg won't be sitting at Hot 97.
We always have a lane. It's always gonna be a lane for our business. Like, you gotta understand, our culture. They want a representative in our culture. That's when the Eminem came in. They was loving that. They was love. If you pay attention, they took our culture to pro wrestling. John Cena was that gimmick they gave to John Cena. That was a goofy character. That was a comedy character in wrestling, in pro wrestling. I don't know if y'all follow. I don't really follow it either, but I know about that because I seen what they was doing. They was still in our culture. And that John Cena character, that was supposed to be some goofy white boy trying to act black shit. That shit caught fire because they like, yeah, he represent us. We some goofy white boys that want to act black. And that shit worked. And he became one of the most popular wrestlers of all time. I remember when I first noticed that they were still in black culture. I was about 15 years old. And it was this show called Your Mama on the MTV. It was a goofy ass Mexican dude talking about your mama. Like, that was always our shit. We ain't, it wasn't even nothing that was just how black Americans interact. I remember we used to have Soul Food Sunday at my grandmother's house. We never called it Soul Food Sunday, that was just a ritual. We used to meet at my grandmother's house. And we used to take an hour, just take an hour. It wasn't planned or nothing. But me, all my cousins, my aunties, my mama, anybody else, we would just sit there and just crack jokes on each other for like an hour, just talking shit about each other's head and nothing crazy to hurt each other. But that was just always our shit. They turned it into some MTV, a whole show. Your mama. Then you got a white boy on there talking your mama jokes with a fucking suit on. I'm like, what is this? That's the first time I noticed that. Pimp my ride. Pimp my ride. When you gotta like tricking out cars and all that shit, that was always our thing. That was a trophy in the streets. They turned it into some other goofy shit. They started putting fish tanks in cars. So they always gonna have a lane. They control this shit. They control America.
Yeah, they're always gonna be on that. But like Brother Rich was saying, he said a long time ago, when we create, we gotta start putting our name on it. Gotta start putting our tag on it. One of the problems is black folks create and we don't put our name by it. You know what I'm saying? We don't put that barcode on it. I remember Brother Rich said a long time ago, he said, if you create something and it's of you, make sure everyone knows it's of you. Because when you create something and you leave it loosely based, that allows people to slither in and take a lot more. But we're gonna wrap all this up. I'm gonna let the people who are designated as speakers talk. We had, I don't even know how many people. I know we was at like 300 earlier, but we touched on pretty much every aspect of foundational Black American culture, not just calling ICE, which is one thing, but like we said, that's associated and connected to so many different things. The tentacles of ICE and legal immigration, that goes so far, and I think we touched it up. I've heard people talk about it before, but when they talk about it, they kind of just keep it the Mexicans crossing the border. They don't get to the nuances and to the details. We had a lot of smart, intelligent brothers and sisters come through and talk about it all, and not just how they try to bury us under immigration, but how they try to misdirect foundational Black Americans off of what we're going for. But I know, Yikes, you've been here, so I'm gonna let you speak your piece. Gail, I'll let you speak your piece, and then we're gonna bring this thing home. Go ahead, Yikes. All right, she must have stepped out. Gail, do you got anything you want to add before we roll out?
No, I'm just grateful that I have something that I can come to and listen and share with all the other seniors. But thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
And Gail, just a reminder, you are very important because we need elders who are not cooning out here. We need elders who are on code because right now I don't know if you have children or grandchildren, but you could pass this information down to your grandchildren and children and make it easier for everybody. Because when you're a grandma and you're teaching, when you're a mother and you're teaching, oh, that's beautiful.
Well, they call me a rebel, so I'm doing that, and I am sharing it as much as I can.
Excellent.
That means you're on the right side of history. That means you're on the right side. I'm gonna say this as well. Everybody who's in here, make sure you follow the hosts, Black Alpha, Rich, and Queen Alpha. And if you got a YouTube, soon as this ends, swing over to YouTube and subscribe to Black Alpha Network on YouTube. Same black fist with the gold backdrop. It's the same energy that we brought in this space. It's the same foundational Black American culture, lineage, history, traditional. Make sure you subscribe to me on YouTube and follow everybody. Queen Alpha, Black Alpha, and Rich. Follow us all. Matter of fact, you see some familiar faces right here in the panel. Follow them as well, because us all being on the same team is what's going to make this work. As I said, teamwork make the dream work. And you know what I'm saying? Nobody's like us. Brother Rich, you can go ahead and chop off, brother. We'll add more stuff later, but go ahead and I'll follow after you.
Yeah, so just to wrap it up, like our brother said, we touched on every section of immigration. We touched from the streets, we touched from the corporate side, we touched from the unemployment side, the employment side. Every section of immigration we touched on today. And I hope this was a very helpful and delightful Twitter space. As always, B1, Black Alpha, you can go to his Twitter space and follow him on YouTube and subscribe to him. If you ever see Afro Elite in here, make sure you follow his YouTube channel. Kid Gravity, make sure you check him out. And shout out to everybody in here. Shout out to Black Alpha for making me a co-host. I really appreciate that. Shout out to Queen Alpha. Shout out to Volvo, Gail, Nikki, Black Voltron. I see you. I'm looking for some familiar faces. I think that's the only familiar faces I see. But shout out to everybody in here. Give yourself a round of applause. It's Saturday night and you're not drinking and smoking. You over here talking about real nigga shit.
Appreciate that. Rich, you already know, man, it ain't nothing without you, brother. All the way live. And by the way, y'all check on Monday. We're going to have a debate between Rich and another person, and Brother Rich is going to smoke, and we already know that. But tune in, get your popcorn ready, because I'm going to be ready, willing to come on at 9:30. I'm going to be ready at 9:25. So a shout out to everybody. Like I said, everybody in the room. Nikki, I see you as well. Bobo, salute, Ohio, Buckeye, all the way. Everybody who came through and spoke, much love from the Black Alpha Network. Make sure you guys follow, share this space, because I want more people to get in. I don't feel there was any immigration space that really touched on what we touched on. We had some real street dudes come through and talk about the street aspect. We had some real businessmen come through and talk about the business aspect. We even had people from the healthcare and the education world. They talked about the main topic of illegal immigration and the effect that it has on the Black community. We didn't leave nothing untouched. So I salute everybody. One love from the Black Alpha Network. Queen Alpha, I love you. Brooklyn in the motherfucking house. I'm going to talk to you in a minute. Everybody, one love. Have a good night. Be safe. Black is beautiful and beautiful is Black.